What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today is May the 20th. I want to give you a quick pre-market update, go over some of the hot movers and everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, no companies really unveiling the earnings of value today, at least. A lot of people clearly eyeing Wednesday and onwards, and Toll Brothers as well. But still, aside from that, Fear and Greed Index is at 65. So that is one of the biggest driving factors for basically all the stocks that I'm going to be talking on, because a lot of the stocks have actually no news whatsoever. Just with the amount of greed in the market right now, it just wants to naturally propel stocks higher. There's a lot of Fed speakers today, so that could really disrupt things, but so far the futures are looking very green. Starting off with Sofi, no news so far this morning. It is up slightly. Shorts did pull down over this last week, and so in case you guys haven't noticed, I did take a 9-day break, something like that. Went to Orlando quickly. So since then, I was anticipating for Sofi to be back in the 8s, but no dice. It looks like it did do a small run up, but aside from that though, shorts have been kind of pulling down. 16.42% of the free float is being shorted, and right now with it at 732, just need to watch for it to get above this R3, 739. Vice versa, $7.26, and then 718 will be the next strong support levels. So SoFi has been very volatile, but at the same time trading flat. So this is very advantageous for options traders. So wink, wink, nudge, nudge to those individuals kind of doing options. Very advantageous just to get some premiums locked in. Aside from that, Faraday. So Faraday is up 72.82%. They did submit this PR on Saturday. So this is very good news and probably one of the biggest driving factors for it to go up, because on Friday, I think Faraday will go down for the record, the heaviest swing. I think it was, as you can kind of see right here, the high was 3.90, the low was 90 cents. So absolute craziness all over the place. But because of this news, and on a side note, that's one of their deficiencies that they're working on with the NASDAQ, but the fact that they are at least submitting their earnings on May the 28th, that could be fairly good. Although, like I've done on this channel actually, covering Faraday, I haven't been the biggest fan of their operations, so I don't think their earnings will be all that great. So this whole rally has nothing to do with their operations whatsoever, just the fact that it is very heavily shorted. So 67.03% of the free float is being shorted, and it is on the threshold list, so it is rather high. And with a low float, essentially, this is where you get kind of the Faraday action that has been happening. Aside from all of that fun stuff, there's no real point talking on technicals or anything with Faraday, because it's just going to be more so the whole numbers. So just kind of watch for the $1.50, $1 range, or vice versa, $2, and you guys get the gist of it. So let me know your thoughts on that, and if you have been trading Faraday or whatever else. Moving on, so iPower, another stock that did unveil their earnings and then kind of just piggybacked off of that. There hasn't been any recent news, it looks like, since the 14th. So yeah, it's been having a fairly nice run. It went up 97.95% on Friday. But at the same time, I think anytime any stock goes up that amount with no news, it's kind of justified that there's going to be a certain level of profit taking. So that's what's happening with iPower. Similar to Faraday, absolutely no point in talking on the technicals. It's just going to be more so the whole numbers. An interesting point though, iPower isn't that heavily shorted. So only 1.32% of the free float is being shorted. This is what it is, or what it does based on the company profile. So trading companies and distributors based out of Rancho, blah, 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 in the US. So yeah, interesting stock. And so this is a very good momentum play feeding off of, like I already pointed out. So this is alone going to be propelling a lot of stocks higher. Moving on, speaking of stocks going higher, so this is up 133.97% based off of no news, no SEC filings, and no rumors, nothing like that. So this is kind of another crazy stock. This is what they do. I believe I brought this up in the past, this company. But aside from that though, all these stocks I'm talking on, the reason why I'm bringing them up is because of the amount of volume that is getting into them so far pre-market. So it's interesting. Big money clearly wants to propel a lot of these stocks higher. Are they investable companies long term? I'd be cautious because, for instance, this stock right here, so the ticker is GTBP, and that is a 4.3 million market cap company, and iPower is 86 million, so that's somewhat okay, and then Faraday is 43, and at the low, I think it was like 1.4 million, something like that. So definitely tread with caution. And this company is not heavily shorted whatsoever. So 0.48% of the free float is being shorted. So shorts are not the driving factor, rather big money and algorithmic trading. And just looking right here, so right now with it at $8.20, it is technically between this S1 and the pivot. So 1538 will be that next strong resistance / target, and then 480 will be that next strong support. So this stock probably will be the hot one for everyone to watch today, because it could essentially run up very, very high. So let me know your thoughts on that. And finally, this stock is getting a lot of volume, even though it's been trading sideways, and that is Hologram. So technically, with their earnings, NVDA earnings coming right around the corner, this stock could really, really benefit. It hasn't really gotten the volume that it once did, and it clearly showed it has the ability to run up. So I think it had a high of $113. So essentially, this one could be one that goes up next, assuming that this does stay at its levels or even gets back into the extreme greed category. Then definitely watch for Microcloud, because yeah, like I said, even though it's kind of red so far this morning, a lot of volume is getting in. Somewhat heavily shorted, so 24.09% of the free float is being shorted, 1.38 million shares. Utilization is 38.07. And then just looking right here, if you're looking at trading it with it at 204, it is just between this S2 and this S1. So 216 will be that next strong target that you want to watch for Hologram to get above, and then $1.58 will be the next strong support. So this one obviously is the only logical one to really talk on for the technicals, aside from Sofi, because everything else is just going up like absolute craziness. And as I always do, this is what AI is saying is buys and or sells for today. So ticker RYAAY is a long, so Ryanair, and then PEGY is a long, Robinhood is a long, VIRI is a short, and XLRE is a long. So you can always pause it and go over, read the explanations a little bit closer. So yeah, it's pretty accurate for the most part, AI. Especially considering algorithmic trading is probably what is pushing Faraday higher and a lot of these other stocks. So let me know your thoughts. What have you been buying? What have you been selling? And everything else. And so I'm back to my regular scheduled broadcasting, if that makes sense as well. So I did take a 9-day break, I think it was, just to Orlando. So I'm back. I'll be back at it. I'll do a Faraday video later, as well as Sofi. If you guys are interested in any other tickers, throw them in the description below. But with all that said though, I appreciate all of you watching.